showing we don't need roads.
Ladies, this is a massive honor for me. Seriously, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to jump into this. It's been obviously 5 years since you guys hit publish on one of the most important pieces of journalism that's ever been written. Looking back on how the world has changed, did the piece have more of an impact than you expected, or has the world not changed enough since the piece was published?
So listen, I mean, when we were doing this reporting, we had no idea what the impact of the story would be. But almost immediately from the moment we pressed publish, we could feel a shift underway. Our emails, our phones were flooded with other women who were coming forward with their own stories of abuse and harassment, not just in Hollywood, but in all different professions and all different walks of life. In those following weeks and months, we saw the Me Too movement go viral, spread around the entire world in a way that I don't think anybody could have ever anticipated. And it was really, we were just blown away to see what a difference this story helped make. Now, 5 years later, have the problems of sexual harassment and abuse been solved? No, that obviously has not taken place. But as journalists, we really feel like it's our job to help, expose problems for society, and it's really up to other people to figure out how to solve these problems. We don't have a magic wand, but we do have the power of a pen, and as we see it, that's our job to keep using it.
Absolutely. This film, the book we wrote and this film is intended to take you back to those early, really tentative days of the investigation when Harvey Weinstein's behavior was just a matter of rumor to us. I was alone on the investigation. I was trying to get, direct contact with actresses, which was very difficult. And, one of our editors, Matt Purdy, who's pictured in the film, would say things to us like, Harvey Weinstein is not that famous. And what he meant was he wasn't knocking down what we were doing. He was saying a lot of people are not going to care, or they're going to take it for granted that a Hollywood producer is kind of this sleazy type who takes advantage of women. And so you have to make people care. You have to tell a story that you think will matter.
And it absolutely did. Megan, there's a moment in the film where you have to sit down and stare into the eyes of Harvey Weinstein. I'm genuinely curious as to whether or not it really happened like that. And if so, what kind of emotions were you feeling on a day like that?
So yeah, that scene in which Harvey Weinstein barges into the New York Times uninvited, flanked by some of his powerful attorneys, the day before we published the story, that did in fact take place. And I did lead them into a conference room. I sat them down. I said, you've got 15 minutes to talk, not a minute longer. And the scene in the film just sort of shows the expression on my face. And I think that Carrie actually, in some ways, with her ability to convey so much just in the slightest changes in her expression, really does capture the feelings that both me and Jodi had in that final stretch of the investigation, which was, Weinstein could come at us with threats. He could try to smear the women that he thought were going to appear in our article. But at that point, we had the facts. We had our brave sources. We had the power of the New York Times at our back. There was nothing he could do to stop us.
Love that. I'm going to cut you guys loose on this. Jodi, I really think one of the most emotional moments in any movie I've seen in recent memory is the moment in the film where you learn that you're going to get a survivor on the record, which was such a watershed moment for the piece. And I legit had tears in my eyes watching that moment in the film. Can you take me back to that moment when you knew that the piece was changed forever because having a survivor on the record was going to give this piece, I think, as you guys put it, the whole story?
Yeah, that moment is very true to life. I mean, basically, we had heard all of these women's stories, and the anxiety was whether we'd be able to publish them. And we had talked to several famous actresses who had really terrible Weinstein stories, but they were so afraid to go on the record. And so we had to ask Ashley Judd to do it alone. So that moment in the film when she calls me a day later and says, yes, I mean, I lost it because we had been in a state of suspense for so long. Were we going to get the story? Were we going to be able to tell the public what we knew? Would Weinstein win, and somehow be able to defeat the story? And then also the level of trust that Ashley Judd was placing in us, the risk she was taking. She was putting her career on the line, really for other women. And so when she gave me that news, I felt, a flood of relief and gratitude. And as a journalist, you're always maintaining a professional demeanor, right? It's never about you, and you want the women to just feel that they're in very secure, smooth hands. But at that point, what I was struggling to do was find something to say to her that was equal to the moment and equal to the gratitude that I felt.
Well, I cannot, first of all, thank you enough for your time today, but just thank you for everything that you've done for just society in general and the power of journalism. It is truly an honor just to be able to have a couple of minutes of your time. So seriously, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Nice being with you. Take care.
Bye.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.